Hello everyone, this is Michael from Valor Recon here today with another Valorant news video. And in today's video, we have a lot to talk about. This is video 2 that I've been releasing today. The first one was simply covering stuff that was officially revealed about Valorant patch 4.02, and that was a more highly edited, kind of just going through it all video. This one's going to be a little bit more casual. And we are going to go through the Datamine stuff that has been revealed either through leakers online or stuff that actually I found that no one seems to be talking about. And we're actually going to start off with some of that today. There was a bunch of stuff that was changed in the files, and I'm not talking about all of it because some of it's pretty basic. For instance, some of it's stuff I've already covered. For instance, last week I covered that they are adding AIs to the game that you're probably going to be able to add into customs. And this week they added the intelligence for them to act differently depending on whether it's an attacker or defender, Phoenix or Neon Wall. For instance, they might be more likely to push a teammate's Neon Wall as opposed to an enemy's. And so that was added, but it's not anything super interesting to talk about. But today we are going to be talking about three main things: progression updates, Icebox changes, and let's talk about progression changes first, because it seems to be the thing that people are talking about the least, and so I'll let you guys know about that right now. So within the files, specifically in rewards, daily ticket, textures, there are 9 new images, each with, a different name. So let's talk about those. The first one is celebration act points. Act points are not something we necessarily have right now. We have your act rank, and this looks like something like, hey, you earned some act points. Not necessarily, sure what this is going to do, but it seems like there'd be some sort of number in the middle. We've already had it revealed in the past that they are working on a progression update, and it was revealed to be some sort of loot box type system, and there was a lot more evidence of that being added now. And I think the biggest one is this next asset, daily selected. Now, this, the name tells me some stuff, the image tells me some stuff. This looks a lot like the check mark next to the daily task. And right now they give you 2000 XP if you end up finishing them. But this looks more like a box with a check mark on it. In addition, it says daily selected. So I think this could mean a couple things. It could mean that now you don't work on both dailies at the same time. You select which one you want to start working on, and then if you complete it, you get some sort of loot box, which is kind of the theory is that your dailies are now going to start awarding loot boxes instead of XP, which is a whole nother video to talk about my opinions on that. But that's what this is appearing to do. Maybe it gives you 2 options and you pick whichever one, and maybe it's like, well, if you do this one, you get a Radianite loot box. If you pick this one, you get a spray loot box. I don't know how it'll necessarily work. Maybe, one's a cosmetic loot box, one's an act point loot box. And so you get to pick which daily you want to do. And so that would show that. Similarly, if you move on down, daily win selected. So now we have a difference between daily selected, which has the white outline, and daily win selected. So what does that mean? Does that mean there are going to be 2 styles of them? Maybe one where it's, win your first game, and one is, a different type. Like now we have your first win of the game gets you some account points. And then maybe we have one where it's like, and that would be the purple one. And then maybe we have one where it's like get 25 headshots or 20 or whatever the number ends up being. So maybe that's what you'll see. And you'll see there are very similar assets, some that are gray, some that are pink. And I could definitely see that being the differentiator. Next, we have it disabled. So there's going to be some sort of icon when it is disabled. For instance, let's say you've already completed it, maybe. Or maybe it's the one you didn't select. And so that's what I really think is happening here, is that you're going to be able to pick kind of what either reward or what challenge you have to do. Maybe there's an easy one and a harder one, and the harder one's going to give you better rewards, but you have to commit to that. And then now you're committing to playing more. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. Next, we have date match daily. I don't know what this means or why it's an empty box. Maybe this is just before you select one. They're both going to be empty boxes, but that's kind of interesting. And then these are where we really start to get the sense that these are boxes you're opening where we get open. And we see kind of the same box we saw, but now opening inside. We also have win daily, which we had the win, which was kind of this exact same box. Win disabled, so we have a purple version of disabled, and win open, which is a different version of open. So maybe this means you've already opened it and it's showing up in the little task thing. If we take a look, these are the icons we have. And then we also have the act points. So let's not even forget about that. act points. What are those? So we're getting loot boxes and act points, and all these things seem really interesting. And the fact that we're getting, assets in the game, it would not shock me if this is one of the things added with the next act. I would expect it by the next episode. But yeah, next act is all about refinement, and maybe they're trying to refine the progression system in the game. Now, just in case you're like, maybe this has nothing to do with, daily stuff, that checkbox is almost identical to the ones we have now, but you'll notice those are completely different icons. And so it's kind of interesting to see. It also, there was another thing that popped up, match detailed progression tab act points. So it looks like we're going to be kind of maybe changing how progression works. Maybe we have act points, which I would assume would change every act. Maybe it's almost like a secondary battle pass. Maybe it's a battle pass that's just consistent and it doesn't actually change, but then you earn points every act and that levels you up on this battle pass that is like multi-year long. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see. I want to know all your guys' theories about this down below. That's kind of the thing about Datamine. We only get some of the picture. And, you can follow leakers on Twitter and they'll give you a little bit of what they know. But I think it's really interesting to look at what was added and kind of speculate on that. Next, we also got this image. Not as interesting, but this is the next night market. It was Special Shop 9 was the name of the asset. And so this is confirming that we are getting another night market before the next update. Typically, those are going to come out sometime probably next week, if I were guessing. You can kind of look at their cadence. I would expect it either, Thursday or next Tuesday. If I'm not mistaken, they like to do it right like halfway between patches, but obviously they can do it whatever day they want. So just keep an eye out on this channel or on Valorant's Twitter or my Twitter, and you'll stay up to date when this gets actually added to the game. If you don't know what night market is, essentially a special store where you get discounts on guns, and they only pop up once an act. And next, we have the Icebox Changes. So this is going to be a lot. This is a lot. So we're going to kind of jump through this. This is on they at one point had like a box here, and then they turned it into this small thing so it wasn't cover, and it looks like they're adding a box back. Now, I do want to give credit. I did not discover any of this. This was all discovered by a different data miner, which you can find in the comments down below or in the description. You'll be able to find a video where they actually tour it. I took the screenshots of all the changes so that you don't have to watch that whole video and pick out what is different. So we have this guy going up to pipes. You'll notice pipes is a little bit thicker. The step is a little bit higher. So now it's going to be more of a fight up there. And it's kind of hard to tell, but there are going to be a lot of new angles and angles that are completely different now because of these small little details. Moving over to B side, this is Garage, which now has a box in the middle of it. And you'll actually notice there's a huge difference. That is also inside of Garage. Normally there's a door on the other side of this box, but there's not anymore. Essentially, that door is going to be a completely, like, just a wall now. And if you strip away what the old Icebox was, the door is now actually going to come out, like, straight. Like, in the old Icebox, back where you can see the tools on the left, that would be, one way to attack, and you can actually see where the snow kind of goes into the doorway. Now, all of these are obviously data mined, so they could change by the time they come out, but this is a major map change. You no longer push out into the same hallway. There's now 2 different hallways, which it'll be interesting to see how that changes the dynamic of taking space. And honestly, this is the biggest map update we've ever seen. Going on, yellow is being changed, so it is now going to be kind of perpendicular to the way you're attacking in. Similarly, they've actually reduced the amount of space back there. You can see on the right photo that you used to be able to stand on top of those boxes, and now everything's been pushed forward. The box is actually a little bit higher. There's multiple of them, and so they are really changing this space. There's now like a secondary box, so there's a lot more places to hide. This will be a lot more interesting in my opinion, between this change and these ones. Next, back in Snowman, they are just doing a little bit of changes. Not a huge deal, but there is this where the kind of floor around the machine, the thingy in Snowman is a lot bigger. Similarly, this, which used to be a tube you can run through, you can no longer run through. It is going to be just a complete block. It's no longer a tube, which is kind of weird. Another weird thing, it looks like the big box is gone, the one that normally hides and protects the plant, and now you can actually plant under tube but not go through the bottom of tube. Those used to be just 2 tubes stacked on top of each other, and now it's like an indentation into the tube. And you'll actually notice the top, you no longer enter in the middle, you enter way more in the open. With the old design, you used to be able to get up to the top of that tube if you were coming in through mid without exposing yourself to all of B, and that's no longer the case. Similarly, up on top, it's a little bit of a safer plant because these boxes are now a little bit further back and a little bit bigger. Then that box that was protecting the plant is now pushed further back and is wall bangable again, it looks like. And so that'll be interesting to see how that changes where the plant spot is and how necessary Sage is on this map. Kitchen just gets a little bit of a difference in its angles, so just be prepared when this update does come out. This will look a little different. And ramps is getting, Boiler's getting a little bit smaller, and the ramp is looking like it's moving a little bit more to the right, so there's not as many angles that you can run up on it at. So it'll make it a little easier for the attackers. And then we have this random bar, which I assume is going to block some angles. Again, without being in the game, it's very hard to see what this actually does, but I'm pretty sure this is blocking some angles where you could see like the feet of people standing on top of screens. I'm assuming that is going to be what this is blocking and make it a little bit harder for defenders to just attack you in your spawn. Those are the main Icebox changes. There are lots of little things where this wall is very slightly bigger or things like that. Again, I encourage you to check out that video if you want to see an entire run through of the map. It's very, very cool what they're doing. Again, this is all like not supposed to be released yet, so a lot of this could change. They may do this for every map update and only pick a certain few things to actually change, so none of this may end up coming true, but that's a good insight into see what they are attempting to do. Next, future game mode. Valor Leagues tweeted, teams will compete by capturing points. Both teams will race for the highest score. This was supposedly tested on 3 different maps, either dev maps or just existing maps. And it could either be something like a capture the flag or point. Oh my gosh. My brain's blanking. It could be really any game where teams are getting points. Technically, this could be a new type of death match, but I'm gonna guess this is something more like capture the flag, or where you have to like capture points. So that'll be kind of interesting, because capturing points could mean capturing like points on the scoreboard or capturing literal points. So that can be interpreted both ways. But yeah, that is it. We've seen a lot of stuff. We saw some progression changes, huge Icebox changes, and a new game mode coming. Again, at this point, it's just text in the game, so this could still be a while out, but it's exciting to see what the future of Valorant holds. I'm going to be trying something, no promises, but I'm thinking about releasing data packs basically after every update. So if that happens, check the description, and essentially it'll be like images and models that you can access without having to break into the entire game to get them. For instance, if I can get the models of the new Icebox, those will be in the description down below. But yeah, if you want like higher res versions of the promo images and the gun models and all of that, those should hopefully be all in the description. No promises. I'm going to work on getting that together though. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this kind of content where we can take a really deep dive. It's a little more casual, a little longer, and we can kind of take a look at what's coming in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Hit that subscribe button.